Yeah. Well, let me give you my number one. I'll go ahead and take Hugh Freeze.
Fuck.
Um,
Frick. I'm sorry. Frick.
uh, yeah, and the reason is here's the deal. Why this is kind of risky though. Like the expectations at Auburn are wild, right? And they do
Yeah.
not have a quarterback going into this year. They do not. Um, but a top 10 recruiting class for Auburn. Are you serious? A team that lives in the top 20, top 15, like the top 10 recruiting class is nice. Hugh
Well,
Freeze
okay.
all time.
Gus Malzahn and whoever that
Yes.
shit that was there that the year, who I can't even remember his name. He was so bad.
Gene
The
Chizik.
last coach. No, no, not
Oh
Gene
no,
Chizik.
Brian Harson. I was like,
Brian
Gene Chizik won a
Harson. I
national
mean,
championship.
those guys lived in the teens. They loved their teen recruiting. Hugh Freeze is not playing around with recruiting.
Yeah, no, he really isn't. And he's won everywhere he's been, guys. He's won everywhere he's been. Arkansas State went 10-3, 8-0 in the Sun Belt. And funny enough, he was actually replaced by Gus Malzahn there for a year. And Gus Malzahn did the same thing basically, but didn't go undefeated in the Sun Belt, which we know how good of a conference that is. So Ole Miss also, beat Alabama 2 years in a row. Like, what other coach can say that? Is there any other coach that can say that? Do we know?
Um, the only I think it was, oh no, like 2 years in a row. I don't know. I Give me a second. Give me a second.
Yeah, CD will figure this out. He's our Bama analyst expert guy.
Just right in here. Gotta ask Google right here.
Gotta ask Google right there. Because
I'm
like
trying to think.
names that I
Did
would have thought of like Kirby Smart, but like the reality is
No.
he won the national championship, but then the next year they didn't even play against each other because LSU made the SEC championship. So like that
The only one
that
I'm
didn't
thinking about
happen.
is Les Miles from 2007 to 2008. But because
No,
let me double
but
check.
Bama, 2008, Alabama went. Oh, they may have gone 11-1 in the
No, no,
regular season.
no, it was, oh no, you know what it was? It was 2010 they lost to LSU, and then 2011 they lost to LSU in the game of the century,
Oh,
and then
and
they
then they
came back
came
and they
back
beat.
and revenged that. Yep. So wow, what a pull from CD right there. That guy's
Nice.
in. So, but yeah, and then of course at Liberty he did what he did. Liberty Bibbity, uh, just winning ball games, right? With the very nuanced offense that gets guys open, plays well to the quarterback. Okay, and you even saw like against Alabama this year, they did not have a quarterback that could throw the ball more than 15 yards down the field. And they moved the ball in that Alabama defense. Moved the ball, dude. The misdirection and the way that they schemed that up was an absolutely A-plus game plan. I'm a Texas A&M fan. I am terrified, terrified to go to Jordan Hare the week before we go play Texas. I am terrified. Okay, this Auburn team I think can definitely soar, and with the playoffs too. Like it feels like with the playoffs inbound, right? I think the um expectations amongst some of those programs are going to kind of decrease artificially because I think the expectations going to be like, all right, every now and then let's make the playoffs, which is I think an easier goal in mind than to win the SEC West or beat Alabama every year or win the national championship, make the college football playoffs when there's only 14 playoff. So I think like artificially these expectations are going to lower and maybe these Auburn boosters are going to give Hugh Freeze more time to build this thing out, which so far he has brought in the talents. Yeah, he hasn't brought in the quarterback yet, but maybe he's just taking his time there, and he'll figure
I think he's
something
not.
out.
I think he's not pushing it. I think he's getting everything else right and then getting the quarterback right. And I do think what he did in the portal this offseason and recruiting wise, also like this team needed an influx of talent everywhere. And you have 16 early enrollees of an elite recruiting class. That matters. That really, really matters for guys like Cam Coleman, Amaris Williams, Marcus Riddick, Jamana Walker, Bryce Kane, even a wide receiver. Like those guys going to be really good players one day. And I think that extra spring practice, that stuff matters as well. Not to mention you got Perry Thompson joining in the summer, as well as just even in this transfer portal cycle, you bring in a guy like Isaiah Regas, a guy Keon Crawford from Arkansas State. Obviously, the highlight Keandre Lambert Smith from Penn State is pretty exciting for you there. I think other than quarterback, this roster is put together and really exciting. I will say why I didn't have him as my number one or even my number two coach
Oh, jeez.
is that I just, if you look around the SEC, right, and you ask me to rank coaches, which we're doing here, there is a legit argument to be made that he is the 11th best coach in the SEC. And it's not that like he's a bad coach. I'm really high on him. I'm really high on what he can do at Auburn. I do worry about the consistency and how much he can have week to week, game to game. Right. You saw that at Ole Miss where it kind of fizzled out at times. I do wonder if you want to talk about longevity. Like, I don't know. He hasn't been places a long time and had sustained success. Right. That could be a factor as well. And also the off the field stuff, you just never know. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna knock him for that a little bit, but I'm not gonna like predict for that to happen. Obviously, I hope he's cleaned everything up. Sounds like he's in a much better place nowadays than he was at his time at Ole Miss. But I mean, yeah, you got on the list. I mean, is Drinkwitz a better coach? Eli Drinkwitz a better coach than Hugh Freeze? Maybe. Is Mark Stoops? I mean, he's had more long term success. Mike Elko, is he a better coach than Hugh Freeze? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, you're right there with a ton of really good coaches in the SEC, and so that's where I was like, I just don't know if I could take him this high because in his own conference alone is he even a top 10 coach, which by the way speaks to the depth of the SEC. Not more so a knock on Hugh Freeze, which is just it's the way it scared me off from taking him one or even second overall.